Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling. What if everything you thought was just acting was real all along? What if behind every camera flash, every stolen glance, and every coincidental social media post, there was a silent love story unfolding, carefully, patiently, and beautifully? Zhao Lusi and Wu Lei have long held the world captive with their on-screen magic. But today it's not about a scene. It's about a moment where truth might have finally surfaced. Not in words, but in something far deeper. What began as a fictional pairing on screen has slowly evolved into something far more meaningful in the hearts of fans worldwide. Zhao Lusi and Wu Lei first captured attention in Love Like the Galaxy, where their chemistry felt so natural, so unforced, that it blurred the lines between performance and reality. It wasn't just the script or the camera angles. It was the way they looked at each other when the scene ended, how their energy lingered long after the final take. For many, it felt like something genuine was growing beneath the surface, quietly, gently, and without need for attention. Over time, subtle gestures turned into recurring patterns. The way Wu Lei always allowed Zhao Lusi to speak first in interviews, or how she seemed to smile a little softer when he was near. These weren't rehearsed, they were instinctive. As the months passed, small moments began to feel significant. Shared quotes on social media, identical book recommendations, and unspoken synchronicities sparked conversations that grew louder with each passing day. And yet, through all of this, neither of them made a bold statement. Instead, they let their actions tell the story. They allowed the narrative to unfold through silence, mutual respect, and quiet support. It became less about confirming a relationship and more about understanding a connection that transcended explanation. This wasn't a publicity stunt. It wasn't fan service. It felt like a real bond, delicate, evolving, and beautifully protected from the noise of public opinion. Fans didn't just watch two actors fall in love on screen. They watched something real take root off screen. And now the timeline of their connection feels like a love story in progress, still unwritten but deeply felt. Sometimes the most powerful truths are not shouted. They're whispered, hidden in plain sight, waiting only for those who choose to see them. With Zhao Lusi and Wu Lei, it was never about grand gestures or public announcements. Their story, if it exists, is being written in the quiet corners of their lives, through gestures so subtle they could be missed by anyone not paying attention. There was the time they both visited a quiet gallery in the city, days apart. They didn't post selfies or tag the location, but fans who knew them well noticed the same painting in the background, the same soft lighting that lingered in both photos. Zhao Lusi posted a still image of a woman surrounded by stars, captioned simply, "Trust." A few days later, Wu Lei posted a quote from the same artist, one that read, "Trust doesn't ask for attention. It simply exists." They didn't tag each other. They didn't need to. It's in these moments, the echo of words, the alignment of thought, that something unspoken begins to take shape. What are the odds that two people would so often choose the same words, the same themes, the same emotional tone, without some deeper connection guiding them? And yet, they never try to prove anything. There's no attempt to manipulate the narrative. What's left is the impression of two souls quietly reflecting each other. Perhaps it's friendship. Perhaps it's more. But what's undeniable is the consistency in how they speak through their silences. These aren't random coincidences. They feel like moments meant only for each other, accidentally witnessed by the world. In a space where everything is often overexposed, their restraint feels like intimacy, and their silence more eloquent than any confirmation. In a world increasingly dominated by curated posts and carefully crafted online images, there is something profoundly moving about gestures that happen away from the lens, away from the performance. With Zhao Lusi and Wu Lei, what lingers in the minds of their fans is not just what they post, but what happens when no one is supposed to be watching. It is in these quiet, real-world moments that the heart of their story begins to reveal itself. During a recent awards ceremony, Zhao Lusi was seen entering her dressing room, visibly surprised by a bouquet of white peonies waiting for her. No cameras followed her in. No one claimed credit. But for those who had been paying attention, it wasn't hard to connect the dots. In an earlier interview, Wu Lei had once described a person he admired, someone who, he said, loved white peonies because they bloom slowly, with grace, and without the need for recognition. That comment had seemed poetic at the time. Now it felt intentional. These aren't gestures made for an audience. They're private acts of thoughtfulness, delicate threads woven into an unseen fabric of connection. When you strip away the expectation of public approval, what remains is often more sincere. Whether it's a simple glance off stage, a quiet presence in the same city, or a gift with no name attached, these are the moments that feel most honest. Real relationships, the ones that matter, aren't always documented. They aren't made to impress. They're lived in small, unspoken ways. And perhaps that's why these moments feel louder than any public declaration ever could. They speak to something deeper, something that doesn't need to be explained, because it's already understood by the ones who are truly watching. Sometimes a single question, asked in the right moment, has the power to reveal everything without saying much at all. When Wu Lei sat across from the host in that quiet studio, surrounded by soft lights and a sense of calm, no one expected the conversation to shift so profoundly. What began as a light-hearted exchange about career and future plans slowly turned inward, toward something more personal, more vulnerable. Then came the question, have you ever cared for someone deeply, but had no way to express it? The room seemed to still. Wu Lei didn't deflect. He didn't laugh or change the subject. He paused, just long enough to let the silence become its own kind of answer. And then with a soft smile he replied, sometimes the most honest feelings are the ones you carry quietly. They're not hidden because they're weak, but because they're too meaningful to be exposed to noise. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't theatrical. But it was real, and those who were listening closely felt the weight of it. He never mentioned a name. He didn't need to. His eyes said what his words didn't, and fans who have followed him closely knew where his heart might be pointing. In a culture that often demands clarity and definition, Wu Lei's choice to protect something sacred, rather than display, it was more powerful than any confirmation could have been. It wasn't just an interview, it was a moment of quiet truth, a glimpse behind the public persona, a rare window into someone trying to preserve something delicate. It was the kind of answer that lingers, that invites reflection, not just about who he was speaking of, but about what it means to hold love gently instead of loudly. There are certain relationships in life that resist definition. They don't fit neatly into the boxes we've created. Friendship, romance, partnership. Instead, they exist somewhere in between, where emotion lives in its rawest form, untouched by labels or expectations. This is what seems to define the connection between Zhao Lusi and Wu Lei. To name it would almost diminish its complexity. It's not about what they call each other. It's about how they are when they're together. In every shared glance and silent pause, there's a sense of familiarity that goes beyond rehearsed lines or screen chemistry. There's a softness in the way they listen to each other, a quiet comfort in their physical closeness. Not performative, not exaggerated, just natural. It's as if their bond isn't something that needs to be spoken aloud, because they understand it intuitively. It's there in the way they move in sync, in how one instinctively fills the silence left by the other, in how their presence seems to ground each other in moments of chaos. What's perhaps most beautiful is that they've never rushed to explain it. They haven't bowed to public pressure to confirm or deny what people suspect. In a world desperate for clarity, their ambiguity feels like a quiet rebellion, an act of self-preservation and authenticity. They've chosen to protect whatever it is they share, to nurture it away from the noise. And maybe that's the most honest kind of connection, the kind that doesn't need to be labeled to be real. Because when something is true, when it is rooted in respect, care, and time, it speaks for itself. Zhao Lusi and Wu Lei may never give their bond a name, but through every moment they've shared, they've already told us everything we need to know. From Seoul to Sydney, New York to Paris, fans are no longer just curious, they're inspired. Inspired by a connection that defies the need for validation. Inspired by a story told in soft echoes, not spotlights. Some fans have even launched a global campaign called Moments, not headlines, to honor their bond. Through digital art, translations, and handwritten letters sent from 20+ countries. This is more than shipping. It's celebration. It's support. It's love. given without asking for anything in return. Technically, no. But emotionally, spiritually, subtly, every gesture, every coincidence, every heartfelt quote feels like a whisper from them to us. You see us, and we see you. Not all love stories need grand declarations. Some are written in the quietest places, between shared values, between mutual growth, between two souls walking the same path. Even if the world hasn't fully caught up. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of love worth believing in. If this story touched your heart, if you believe in the quiet power of real connection, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Thank you for watching and sharing this journey with us. We'll keep telling the stories that move you. Until next time. Stay kind, stay curious, and never stop believing in the love that doesn't need words. This is your channel name. Signing off with love. Yellow Heart.